Greetings, my friends. I welcome you to I guess it's become a daily devotional, right? Yeah, Romans 7. The answers to the question. I like it when the Bible gives answers to any question. Let's look into Romans 7, get the answer to the question, and live forevermore with it. hmm Okay, and I think we'll read from Romans chapter 7, verse 12, and maybe 13, so that it kind of gives an answer. You read the whole chapter, get an idea for yourself. It says here, has then that which is good become death to me? Certainly not. There's your answer. But sin, that it might appear sin, has produced death in me through that which is good, so that sin, through the commandment, might become exceedingly sinful. Now, that's verse 13. Verse 12 says this, has then that which is good become death to me? Certainly not. Huh? This is the truth. This is what, and sometimes you'll find out. I found out that all through life, God gets a rap for good and bad. So the problem is not good here. It's it's the law of sin, and you might find the laws of gravity. Throw it up, it comes down. Hey, the laws on the highway. You know, have you ever went to another state and been driving, and you might have been keeping your speed, and all of a sudden you look up and the speed's maybe 5 miles faster or slower than you're used to, and you don't even know you're breaking the law, right? This is what it's kind of said. Well, what is the law? And let me deal with that first. If you see this, the Jewish people were under the understanding, because God had given a commandment of the 10 commandments, and they knew that they had to live like this. And so the Gentile world didn't have the law of commandments, only the Jewish people did. And it wouldn't. Well, what the law was given for. Well, it wasn't even called a law. It was called the commandments of God. God said, "Do this, and it's going to be well with you." And what the law was, it was a measuring. Have you ever seen a child? You put him against the doorway, and he stands there, and you measure right there where he's at when he's so many years old. And he gets a little older, and you measure where he's at, and he keeps growing like that. That's what the law of commandments is. It's a measuring. It shows you that wherever you stand and you back yourself up to it and you measure yourself against the law, the commandments, yeah, you find yourself short. And what does that do? Well, it explains to us that there is a need, right? That we do have a need. No matter how hard we try, we have a need. There's something's going on in us, even when we want to do what's right, we find ourselves not doing it. And then that which we don't want to do, we do. And this is where this came in right here in Romans 7. When Paul, he had to do this. He had to find this, what in the world's going on with me? That which I do, I find not. And if that question is in you, then you'll be like Paul was here. The challenge right here that people had was, well, is that which is good working bad for me? The answer is no. Don't give God the bad rap for that. What it does is measure us and show us that we have a need for Christ. So what does the law do? It gives us an avenue, a stretch, a measuring line, so that we can put ourselves against it and we can see where we are. And this is what it was made for. But there is a law of commandments that works in us. And have you ever noticed that you might not want to do something, and you maybe even look down on other folks for it or something, and all of a sudden you find yourself tempted to it, or maybe you find yourself doing it. You say, what's the matter with me? There's, there's a law, my friends, of sin. Yeah, read it. It's right there. The law of sin is right there. There's a law that because the devil, from the beginning, sinned, his sin transferred over into humans, my friends. This is went on to us, and it's transferred to us. Every person, every year, forever, have had problems with sin. And when you measure yourself up, okay, with the law of commandments, that which is good, holy, right, you'll find yourself in need. And that's where the good news comes in, my friends. That by grace we can be saved through faith, that not of ourselves, it's a gift of God. He understood the need of humans. He understood the need, and he who is good sent forth his Son to do that for us. So, what is the law? Well, there's the law of the commandments, there's the laws of gravity, there's the laws of the road, there's lots of laws. And with every law, bam, you break the law, you die, right? Or you get a ticket or whatever the case is. The law of grace says, I'll give you a chance. If you're going to measure to 10 and you can only measure to 8, grace is a measure from 8 to 10 to bring you into the right place with God. And see, that's the good news that people didn't have. They understood by the law, if you measured yourself up, oh, I'm worthy of death, and then there was nothing but shame left for failure. And this right here, grace gives you another chance until you succeed. How can you beat that? This is what this is trying to say here. Paul found himself, a law was working in his members. When he wanted to do something, he found that he didn't do it. And then he found that which I don't want to do, that I do. He found himself in a bunch of doo-doo. He just was troubled in every way because the things that happened to him, he couldn't figure out. But there was a law inside of man. Mm-hmm. Have you ever broke your own law? Offended your own self? Yeah, it happens. You thought, oh, I would never do that, but you do that. And you might have made up that old law your own self. You can do these kind of things. But there is a law of sin, my friends, that goes along with us. And if we don't understand that it's inside us, we're always fighting and looking for it and blaming everything on the outside. The devil made me do it. Yeah, well, that originally his. That's what his job was, and he did it. But a lot of things we do because of the brokenness that's in us, and that's what Jesus came to fix. And if you find this kind of thing working in you and you want help, there's help today. God's got grace through your faith if you put it in Jesus to help you and to give you a chance that if you can't measure up, that which is good is the good shepherd of the sheep. And he is willing to help to do what you can't do. There's other laws we'll talk about as we begin to progress through here because there's no escape. If you don't face that, then you won't get a hold of this information. The law of sin, my friends, is in every single person. That's the brokenness. It comes through your imagination and thoughts. It's deep within. And only Christ can go down there. You can't take a pill for it. You can't go to the doctor for it. It won't work it. You can only go to Jesus, and he is willing, my friends, to help us and to forgive us and to give us grace and then encourage us and show us how to make our next step. That's good news, knife. That which you couldn't do, God did by sending his Son in the likeness of sinful flesh and for sin to condemn sin in the flesh, that all the righteous requirements of the law might be fulfilled in us, who would walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. I know that's wordy, but it is the truth. And you got to put your head in and think about it a minute and relax in it and trust that he who is good will work good. Don't blame the bad on God. Don't blame it even on the devil. It can sometimes. But face it, that their stuff works on the inside of us and we can't help it. We need Jesus. It just shows us how needful we are as people, all of us. So if you have a need today, you can have a need. You can fulfill that by receiving Jesus. We'll put a prayer maybe in the description or something like that for you, but you pray yourself today and say, God, forgive me of my sins. And he's willing to do that and give you grace to help you past that which you can do. Is good working? Yeah, it is. Let it work in you today. That's the word of God today. Have you found it? I did, and I feel free. Bless you. Till next time.